As I was watching what would otherwise be considered to be rational, intelligent human beings willingly walk into a blazing fire, I needed to figure out why. What happened to the psyche? What happened to the human psyche? And as I was stumbling down this hole, I came across this symbol. Now, if you feel like that I have presented the red and blue pill to you, it's because I have presented the red and blue pill. This shit's about to get real, so listen to me now, Alice. Turn back now, because once we go down this hill, there ain't gonna be turning back. My name is Charles, and welcome back to another episode of Am I Crazy? This symbol says Anu Copetis. You'll be told that this means he favors our undertakings, this at the top. You'll also be told these are 13 layers of a pyramid that signify the 13 colonies from us establishing our independence from the British. You'll also be told that down here is Roman numerals. In Roman numerals is written 1776, the same year we established our independence from the British. You'll be told that this triangle at the top is shrouded in mystery. You'll be told that this down here says New Order of Ages. It's written in Old Latin. This saying at the top is derived from Latin word anu. A person had declared to someone before he took his shit. He screamed to his own god, who had happened to be named Jupiter, said Jupiter favors his undertakings, my undertakings. But at some point, we robbed that saying and just basically put insert name here, favors my undertakings. But this is there's a very large space in between these two words. If you separate these two words and look and find out what the fuck they mean in Old Latin, it says Winks Enterprises. If you look up Winks Enterprises, it's going to send you to Better Business Bureau. If you find out what the definition of Winks is, it means usually to indicate a secret enterprise. Enterprise, by definition, is pursuit or company. Secret fucking enterprise. Winks Enterprise. Down at the bottom it says New World Order of Ages. Okay, so what ages? There's a pyramid on here. And it's written in Old Latin. Okay, so we got a pyramid and Old Latin written on here. Well, we all know where the pyramids came from. It came from Egypt. And maybe not everybody knows that old Roman Republic spoke Old Latin. So let's go to the globe. Where is that? Woo! Woo! Globe! Oh yeah, Charles just busted out a globe on you. Check it. A long time ago, this area right here was called Gaul, and it was dictated by Caesar. This is the Mediterranean. There's Egypt. In 30 BC, Caesar established province in Egypt. In 55 BC, Caesar invaded fucking United Kingdom, where Britons are, and Scottish, and the birth of Christianity, and the start of America. Right there. All of this underneath is Caesar owned. So is Egypt. And then he invaded British and taught Americans how to be Roman and Egyptian. That explains why we know about the Latin and the pyramid. Okay, but that doesn't explain everything else. So what we've already established is how we know about the Latin lettering and the pyramid. But during this time of the Roman rule, down here in the Mediterranean, a story was being told of a man, but his name kept changing. That story we know today is the story of Jesus, for 1,000 years before we heard about it. And once the story made up here is twisted into Christianity, and that's when we learn about the voyage of Christians moved from here. But they were leaving because the Scottish were fucking descending upon them, and so were all of Rome. Well, these people here that developed Christianity also wanted their own Rome, so they dipped out this way, right above Africa. And that's where we see Christopher Columbus's voyage between Cuba and Africa to build his army and slaves. But he wasn't planting apple seeds like we were taught. He was building an army to invade America. That's when we come to this here, the Roman numerals of 1776. The year of our Declaration of Independence. The year that we separate from British rule. That only knows Roman Egyptian type of ruling. Most people will repeat to you the first part of the Declaration of Independence, which is basically we're equal and your religion is unalienable and we have the right to pursuit of happiness and whatnot. But it's never been interpreted. It never was interpreted to me properly, and once I interpreted it, it made sense. So what it means is people will believe what they want to, and it is almost impossible to get them to believe something else. We also understand that people's beliefs give them purpose and for life and happiness and stuff. But we also believe that we're equal because people are dying outside the exact same way, and nobody's gods are saving anyone. So we have to realize that. And then in the middle part is basically that guy venting. He's basically letting some shit off his chest, telling about how the British was a Roman Republic and it sucked bad for anybody and they needed to run. That's basically what that is. But then at the very end, people don't really know this end part. I never really heard this shit growing up. It was the actual pledge. The actual pledge during the Declaration of Independence goes like this. I pledge my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor to you. That's what the Declaration of Independence was. Now, this took place in 1776. John Adams, one of our forefathers, he was still trying to convince people not to be a Roman dictator 4 years after this shit was written, after the Declaration of Independence was signed. Who are the 5 people in the picture? They are John Hancock and the rest of our forefathers. John Adams was still trying to convince people not to be Caesar 4 years after they signed that shit. But let's think about that picture. There's a gang of people in that picture. Only 5 people stepped up. Only 5 people stepped up to say, hey, we can't all be Caesar. Because if we're all Caesar, we're not going to make it. Only 5 people stepped up. So for 4 years, our forefathers were still trying to convince most of the people in that room not to become Caesar. And after about 10 years passed and they were no longer around type of shit, that everything pretty much got thrown out the window. And during the 19th century, a Scottish man up here was using his knowledge of Roman dictatorship and Egyptian dictatorship and his basic knowledge of, or his basic understanding of human behavior to write a book. This man went by the name of Adam Smith, who we now know in our history books to be the father of capitalism. He wrote a book named The Wealth of Nations, the year the Declaration of Independence was signed. In his book, he speaks of his moral philosophies. His moral philosophy is this: To be selfish is natural. That means it's okay. His economical philosophy is also the economical way we live today. His economical philosophy is this. In order for the economy to work best, each leader of their area has to obtain the greatest advantage. In order for them to obtain the greatest advantage, they need to be selfish by any means necessary, even if they're using a positive influence. So each dictator of each area needs to be selfish as possible, forcing the people in the area to work for you in order to survive. That was his philosophy and his economical philosophy. And that's the same philosophy we live upon today. So, in the 19th century, his book, the 19th century was a period between 1800 and 1900. And his book, Wealth of Nations, was made an academic requirement. Who was in school during the 1800s? It wasn't people that looked like me. It was only descendants of British. They were the only ones in the classroom. I guarantee you I was not in the classroom in the 19th century. So that explains why our Congress today is mostly white. Most rich people are white. Most people that own employee in any type of employment are white. It's because in the 19th century, all descendants of British were given this book to indoctrinate them to be selfish as possible. He gave this book he worked his way up. This Adam Smith guy worked his way up into politics to be able to put his book into schools as an academic requirement. The book was designed to make anybody who read it as selfish as possible in order to become rich. And to do it by any means necessary, even if you're using positive influence like people's gods. Okay? Now, if you look up Adam Smith, you'll find that his face is on British currency and stuff like that. You'll also see that there's a triangle on his currency that kind of looks like it's radiating. Radiating triangle. What doesn't explain the eye in the middle? Well, Anu means winks. That explains the eye. Now let me put this all into perspective for you. Right here, right now. Adam Smith brainwashed every British descendant to become as selfish as possible in the 19th century. He has radiating triangles all over his currency with his picture on it. He has been dubbed the father of capitalism, and he takes credit for how our economy works today. This right here is a symbol for capitalism, because who's at the top of any pyramid, any unfinished pyramid? Somebody making fucking money, somebody getting rich. Who's building the pyramid? Us slaves, us working class. This is a symbol of capitalism. This is every capitalist's unfinished pyramid. And they're just the capitalists getting rich at the top. This thing says secret enterprise. New world order of ages. This is greedy fuckers laughing in our faces all day, every single day, for being their slave. So in the 18th, that explains everything today. Why minorities don't have any opportunities. Why Congress is full of white people, and why there's always a first for colors nowadays. It explains everything. It's because the British brainwashed their own people in the 18th century to be as selfish as possible in order to be rich and keep it in the circle. Now they don't give anybody else the opportunity. That's exactly what Adam Smith did. You can go ahead and look it up yourself. I'm out of time. Check my next video, and I'll show you. I'll talk to you about the religious part.